Today we'll be learning about simultaneous equations. Simultaneous equations involve two linear equations with the same variables. Okay, let's get into some examples of simultaneous equations. There are 5 steps for solving these equations. So the first step is number each equation. So we number 1 and 2. And then the second step is to either subtract or add to remove one of the variables. In this case, we need to subtract both equation 1 and 2 to get rid of the variable y. So we do equation 1 minus equation 2. So when we minus equation 1, when we minus equation 2 from 1, we get 2x as 5x minus 3x. And then 2y minus 2y cancels out, so that's gone. And then 11 minus 5 equals 6. So we get 2x equals 6. So now we have to find x, which is our third step. Solve for x or y. In this case, we're solving for x. So we need to find a number that will get us to 6. So in this case, 2 times 3 will give us 6. Okay. And by the way, you can just go, you need to remove 2. So you can go 2 divided by 2. And well, you have to do it for both sides. So 6 divided by 2, which gives us 3. And this cancels out, and we get 3. Okay. So now the next step is we substitute x equals 3 into either equation 1 or 2 to find y. Okay, so now we're going to sub x equals 3 into equation 1. So sub x equals 3 into 1. That's a way of denoting x. This is a way of denoting what I said. So when we sub x equals 3 into 1, we get 5 times 3 plus 2y equals 11. So 5 times 3 is 15, and then plus 2y equals 11. So now we need to bring 15 to the other side. So what we're going to do is go, we're going to go minus 15 and minus 15. Okay, so now what we're left with is minus 4, as 11 minus 15 gives us minus 4. So now same thing, we divide it by 2 to get rid of 2, and we do it for both sides, and we're left with minus 2. So now our coordinates are going to be 3 and minus 2. So this is for x, this is for y. So now we've solved a simultaneous equation. Okay, now let's move on to another equation. Okay, let's move on to 2x plus 4y equals 16, and 2x plus y equals 7. Okay, so now we have to follow our 5 steps. So the first step is to number each equation. So we're going to number this one 1 and the second one 2. Okay, so now the second step is to either subtract or add to remove one variable. In this case, we're going to subtract to remove the x variable. So we're going to go equation 1 minus equation 2. So when we minus equation 1 and equation 2, we're left with 4y minus y, which gives us 3y, 16 minus 7, which is 9. And now we have to divide by 3 to remove 3 from one side, from the left side. Okay, so this cancels out. We're left with y equals 3. So we've solved for y, which is our third step, Now we have to move on to the fourth step. Okay, so the fourth step is to substitute the value y equals 3 into our equation. So we're going to sub y equals 3 into 1. So sub y equals 3 into 1. Okay, so 2x plus 4 times 3, because we're subbing y into every, so we're subbing 3 into every y, and equals 16. So what's left is, so we're left with 2x plus 12 equals 16. Next step is to remove the 12 from the left hand side and take it to the right hand side. So in this case, we're going to do minus 12 to remove 12 and bring, so if we do one thing to one side, we have to do it to the other side. So we did minus 12 on this side, so now we have to do minus 12 on the other side. Okay, so now it's telling us to do 16 minus 12. And in this case, 16 minus 12 will give us 4. So the last step is to remove 2 from the left hand side. So we're going to divide it by 2 to cancel that out. So when we do this to the one side, we have to do it to the other side. So 4 divided by 2, which gives us 2. So now we've found both of our answers for both x and y. Oh, by the way, I forgot to put the fifth step, which is to write the answer. Write the answer. So that's our fifth step. So we write it into the coordinate form. Okay, so the fifth step is to put it into the coordinate form. So 2 and 3. As you see, we have solved 2 simultaneous equations. Okay, now let's move on to our last equation. Okay, now let's do 5x plus 2y equals 9. And let's do 3x plus 2y equals 7. So now our first step is to number each equation. So we're going to number this 1 and 2. Okay, second step is to either subtract or add from the other to remove one variable, as it says in step 2. In this case, we're going to subtract to remove y. So we're going to do equation 1 minus equation 2. So 5x minus 3x, 2x. And 2y minus 2y cancels out, so that's 0. And 9 minus 7 is 2. So the next step is to do 2 divided by 2 on both sides. We divide by 2. So now what we're left with is 1, because 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. Okay, so now we've solved for x or y. So now let's move on to step 4, which is substituting the value of x or y in one of the given equations. Okay, we're going to sub x equals 1 into 1. Okay. So now we're going to put x equals 1 into every x. So when we put 1 into x, it's going to go 5 times 1 plus 2y equals 9. 5 times 1, 5. And 2y equals 9. Next step is to remove the 5 and bring it to the right hand side. So by doing this, we're going to go minus 5 on both sides. This cancels out. We're left with 2y, and 9 minus 5 equals 4. And then the next step is to divide it by 2 on both sides to cancel out the left hand side value. So now we get y equals 2, because 4 divided by 2 gives us 2. Okay, Thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video on simultaneous equations. Bye.